I'm Vanessa Tyler. Welcome to What's Eating Harlem, where we cover the most exciting community in the world. There is so much going on here in Harlem. Let's get started. From Ethiopia to Harlem, travel while not even leaving the table. The trip is delicious. Dine with us at Zoma. It is a Sunday summer Harlem tradition, not church, but you do get a sermon, Sunday sermon, where the music moves you and the DJ makes it happen. Just dance, baby. There was a time when mainly blacks were in the saddle. A new documentary tells us what happened to the black jockey and hear from the oldest living black jockey in America. All of that and more on this edition of What's Eating Harlem.
Closed captioning supported by Chocolat Restaurant Lounge, 2223 Frederick Douglass Boulevard, Harlem. Everyone meets at the bar at Chocolat. Late night weekend dining too. Chocolat Restaurant Lounge. What's Eating Harlem, funded in part by Cove Lounge. Situated in the heart of Harlem, it embodies the spirit and vitality of its community, delivering a unique blend of cool sophistication and urban edge. Urbani, barbecue sauce, chili sauce, mustard, infused with their pure truffles, all the way from Italy to New York to your grill, just in time for summer. Urbani, maker of the world's truffles, is a proud supporter of What's Eating Harlem. Our journey begins with the tradition of coffee. Elegant, rich, deep. It's the start of the experience as we delve into Ethiopian cuisine.
And it's usually done in a small cup like this because it's more, the coffee is brewed more as an espresso.
Hanuk Kajala is the perfect guide as the owner of Zoma, located at 113th and Frederick Douglass Boulevard, part of Harlem's hot restaurant row, serving his taste of Africa for nearly a decade.
When I first started here, there was one other restaurant, Melba, that was here as a sit-down restaurant as opposed to just a fast food outlet. And there was nothing on the avenue, so to speak, in terms of nightlife.
Far different from today, Harlem is smoking and Zoma is in the thick of it.
But we were lucky enough to get reviewed 6 months after the restaurant opened by New York Times. So since then, it just steadily increased over the second year and the third year, and here we are. We're on 9th year now.
Oh, our appetizers.
This is toasted with clarified butter and a little bit of chili powder, a little bit of garlic powder, and that's fresh milk cheese. Practically it has no taste. It's like feta without the salt. So the way you eat it is you take a little piece and you dig.
So we dig in.
Please do.
The dish made with injera, the spongy Ethiopian bread that is the foundation of Ethiopian eating. This injera is spiced with chili powder, giving it kick. That milk cheese cools it down. Delicious. We also have sambusa, light phyllo pastry. One is filled with spicy ground sirloin, the other lentils.
Perfect.
This is delicious.
Hanuk is actually a son of Harlem, immigrating from Ethiopia with his parents as a child.
My introduction to Harlem was when I was almost a middle school student. I've seen a movie called Across 110th Street. And that was my vision of Harlem.
And now that he's here, he couldn't imagine being anywhere else on the planet.
Absolutely not. I got lucky, and lucky in the sense of timing, that I happen to be here, and I think it's the best of both worlds in terms of being part of the changing history of Harlem.
Here comes our entree.
It's a combination of two vegetables, the cabbage, the carrots, and the potatoes, and then this one is collard greens. This is a lamb stew in a turmeric sauce, and that's the traditional chicken stew, which is called doro wet.
You can have meat or go totally vegetarian. The What's Eating Harlem staff digs in everything delightful. We especially love the very effective honey wine.
There is something about the way Ethiopian food is eaten, and I'm not talking about using your hands. I'm talking about the way everyone sits around and shares together.
And when people want to get together, the doors are open at Zoma, with its roots pushing deeper in Harlem. Hanuk Kajala just loves his luck.
And also being at the right place, being successful in a restaurant business, it takes a lot of luck. And I think I'm lucky.
What's Eating Harlem wants to get you involved. You got a story idea? Tell us. Go to our website, what'seatingharlem.com. There you can become a member and get discounts to some of the places we feature. Remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Party in the park, hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. It is on. It is Sunday sermon and the place is packed, just like DJ Stormin' Norman envisioned it would be.
There are people that come to just socialize up here.
And there they are.
Then you have the dancers.
Moving and grooving.
Then you have the people in the middle.
DJ Stormin' Norman is the maestro. He works the wheels of steel and they move. Sunday sermon is legendary in Harlem. The people working it out have been moving to his beat for years.
This is Sunday sermon. There's another word for Sunday sermon, and it's almost like a family reunion. That's what it is. Because you can come here and you will find somebody from 20 years ago. There were parties I used to DJ in the 80s, and people come and it's like, I didn't know it was you that was DJ Norm. They just heard about the party.
DJ Stormin' Norman worked at WBLS, still has a show on Wednesday afternoons on WHCR radio, and lives in Harlem. Arriving from across the pond, London is where he is from, but for decades he has been in the booth at the New York City party scene. But as everyone got a little older, the club wasn't exactly the place anymore, which is why 7 years ago he came up with the concept of Sunday Sermon in the Park.
Sunday sermon actually started as an afternoon for people of my age in their 40s. And so I just said to myself, you know, why don't I just create it? The music is ultimately what we look for, you know. I mean, we're a little older, we're sometimes a little disconnected from what's actually being played on the radio, et cetera, et cetera. So let me bring something back, and that is sort of basically the origin of Sunday Sermon.
Don't think there are just old folks out here. There's old, young, people bring their kids. And now that Sunday Sermon is in St. Nicholas Park, it is on and popping. What's up with the name? Sunday spelled like ice cream sundae, and sermon like you would hear in church.
They used to say, when they used to go to the Paradise Garage, are you going to church tonight? Sort of the idea when you hear a song and you close your eyes and you go, oh, that's my song. It could be anything. And you close your eyes and you feel that spirit of that song. That's the idea. It's the spirit of the song, and of course a lot of house music.
In fact, he calls the crowd his parishioners. He is certainly the Reverend, commanding the crowd, a feeling they all want, they all need.
If we don't get to dance, if we don't get to praise, if we don't get to smile, we will be consumed with bitterness, right? And we're not about that.
Now dance, baby. Just dance, baby. Dance, baby.
That's why we don't go shooting up churches. That's why we don't take planes down with 150 people in them, right? Like we find, like this is church. This is second church for a lot of people. People went to church and then they come to church.
On this summer Sunday in Harlem, they were certainly praising the music and a time gone by.
I consider myself a house diva because house music goes back, and many people in this generation don't recall. We partied at Paradise Garage, that was on King Street, and lines would be around the corner, and you literally would wait no matter how long it took to get in there. The bass was so good that it was like a heartbeat that lifted you up.
Life goes on. DJ Stormin Norman has a day job, a real estate agent serving Harlem in the city. He is launching a record company under the Sunday Sermon brand, and he is also starting a Sunday Sermon Foundation.
Sunday Sermon Foundation for boys, and it's a foundation that's a mentor program.
A group of boys from his Harlem neighborhood who hustled day and night inspired him. He feels each one of us must do our part to save them.
I have my own son, you know, he's applying for law school right now. So, you know, I like to help another one.
The program would have a fitness portion. The boys would work out. Then Stormin Norman would invite in men, including his celebrity friends, to speak to the boys.
I'd like to take them on trips and show them the world, because traveling is the best thing in the world for anyone.
Oh, the boys would learn one more thing.
The last few hours would be teaching them how to DJ.
And let the congregation say amen.
comes.
The 10 went in. Now, he was a long shot.
Hanging at the track with the oldest African-American jockey alive today, 68-year-old Ronnie Tanner. Actually, Tanner was a long shot too. In his riding days back in the 60s, he was the only one like him in the saddle.
It was a lonely journey, I tell you. It was, when you're out there by yourself and the pressure that comes along with it.
But look like he's going to be an easy winner like American.
The pressure of pure racism. Certain owners wouldn't hire him to ride. And when traveling in the South, it was worse. Eating with the horses instead of in the restaurants. The ultimate humiliation was denying who he was.
I had one trainer, when I went into the paddock to ride this horse, he would say, Ronnie, act like you don't understand English. I told him that you were Spanish. And I had to pretend like I didn't understand English and don't say anything. And they thought I was Spanish.
All that pain would turn to joy when he came to Harlem.
The people there, they were so happy. They wanted to take pictures and autographs, and I was welcome. People know what I had to go through, and to reach the level that I did, it was a hell of a job.
And Harlem would come out to the track to see him ride.
People from Harlem, the numbermans, them type of people there, they would all be there lined up along the racetrack and to holler at me and to give me that support.
Tanner is still feeling the love. Harlem loves racing with its now annual Kentucky Derby parties at Setapani Restaurant.
I made a decision that I was no longer going downtown to attend Kentucky Derby parties, so I decided to produce one here in Harlem.
Adding to the excitement, a few years ago, there was even a black jockey, Kevin Krieger, racing for the Roses. Harlem came out dressed fine, as always.
I love a chance to get dressed up. People don't get dressed up anymore.
What many may not know is that African Americans used to dominate the sport, perhaps the origin of the lawn jockey.
13 of the 15 jockeys in the very first Kentucky Derby, African Americans. And it continued that way until Jim Crow.
Producer Ken Brown and iconic actor Roscoe Orman have teamed up to remind the world just how incredible the black jockey was in the history of the sport of racing.
Jimmy Wingfield, who was the last great African-American jockey who won the Kentucky Derby a total of 3 times, twice in a row, actually, in 1901 and 02. And his life story read like some kind of fiction. It was so incredibly gripping and really unbelievable.
Also gripping is how deep the history is. Slave owners used to have their slaves ride and compete against other plantations.
It became, a big part of the antebellum plantation world and sports. Some of the slave jockeys actually had business agents. They were that much in demand by horse owners. Unlike slaves in general, these jockeys and trainers were allowed to travel across state lines. And they even went to the northern states before the Civil War.
And for some slaves, it was their ticket to freedom.
Some of the jockeys famously were able to purchase their freedom through their efforts as well. Yes, freedom of themselves and members of their family.
There is so much to learn, like how even before slavery in West Africa, Africans participated in horse racing. The events were called the Durbar. Sounds familiar? That's why the slaves were so good. All that information and more, Orman and Brown packed into a documentary titled Black Turf Project. They have started a funding campaign because this is a story that must be told, a story never forgotten.
It's amazing that this history has been hardly told at all in any corners of education, for sure, but very few people know about this.
We really want people to know about this forgotten history, because they really were the first, not just black sports stars, they were the first American sports superstars.
For Ronnie Tanner, it seems black jockeys are a thing of the past. He can count on one hand how many are actively riding. It can be such a lucrative career, but very few African Americans saddle up. It is hard work, long days. You must have a love of horses, and you most definitely have to watch your weight.
The average black American male, he gets too big. I mean, you look at the kids nowadays.
It is also demanding physically. He has broken nearly every bone.
Oh, I had quite a few injuries. I think every bone in my body, from the cheekbone down to the ankle there, broken the ribs, 5 or 6 of them.
Through it all, he's the same weight, 110 to 115 pounds. He's thinking of jumping in the saddle again.
It's always that possibility.
That's all the time we have for now, but join us next time on What's Eating Harlem. I'm Vanessa Tyler. See you uptown.
Closed captioning supported by Chocolat Restaurant Lounge, 2223 Frederick Douglass Boulevard, Harlem. Everyone meets at the bar at Chocolat. Late night weekend dining too. Chocolat Restaurant Lounge. What's Eating Harlem, funded in part by Cove Lounge, situated in the heart of Harlem. It embodies the spirit and vitality of its community, delivering a unique blend of cool sophistication and urban edge. Urbani, barbecue sauce, chili sauce, mustard, infused with their pure truffles, all the way from Italy to New York to your grill, just in time for summer. Urbani, maker of the world's truffles, is a proud supporter of What's Eating Harlem.
To become a member of What's Eating Harlem, go to www.whatseatingharlem.com and sign up for special events like wine tastings and food tastings. Also, join us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. If you have any ideas for stories about Harlem, send them to info@whatseatingharlem.com.